Warning: the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
His comments are not anywhere in keeping with our party's principles and values. There are basically two things that I want to make really clear. As for myself as your speaker, I am not going to defend Donald Trump. Not now, not in the future. As you probably heard, I just invited him from my first congressional district GOP event this weekend, a thing I do every year. And I'm not going to be campaigning.
All right, there he is. There he is. That's the opening to the show. It's a very well played tape by now. The question is, why did Breitbart leak this October tape of Ryan saying he would not support Trump right now? You have to assume it was Steve Bannon pulling the switch on this one. And obviously it's because they want a complete repeal of Obamacare. They do not want a compromise called Obamacare Light or Trump Care, however you want to do it. But I don't think this helps either Trump or Ryan, and I think Breitbart did not do either of them a service, incidentally. This leaked audio comes at a pretty troublesome time for Paul Ryan and for Donald Trump. But that leads us to the show today. Welcome to the program. How are you? Today is the release date of my new book, Trump's War, and we will talk about bookstore and clerk horror stories, book clerk horror stories. Have you been to your local bookstore to find Trump's War? Were the employees in the store courteous or typical progressive discourteous types? Has the book been buried? For example, was it put under Rebecca Has 17 Mommies? Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the insurance plan itself, meaning Trump Care. I have been talking about this since yesterday, which is Savage tells Trump high-risk insurance policies for high-risk people will solve Trump Care. It'll save billions of dollars a year. I sent it on to his people, and I posted this on michaelsavage.com yesterday with a complete transcription of my show. Savage tells Trump high-risk insurance policies, or actually, you have to pay more if you're in a high-risk category, will solve Trump Care problems. I would probably be in a high-risk pool myself. I'm in a high-risk profession. I'm in one of the most stressful professions, mentally stressful professions that are available. I walk a tightrope every day. I do it because I choose to do it, but I'm in a high-risk profession. And I do it anyway. I never thought I'd last this long, but here I am 22 years later. 23 years this month, can you believe that? 23 years in radio come March 22nd. Unbelievable. As they say, time really does go fast. I'll tell you that. It seems to go faster. I remember the old people used to say that to me when I was younger. Don't you worry, you'll see when you get older. You'll see it goes by in the flash of an eye. You look at them like they were crazy. Time was so vast when you're 18 years old. It seemed like it would never end. It was endless. You'd think, it's not going to affect me. So what do you think about putting high-risk people in high-risk pools? Here's what someone said on my website. The high-risk policies should be for those who have documented health conditions, such as diabetes or cancer, and who are not part of a group plan. An individual with diabetes should pay more than a person who does not have any chronic diseases. The key to insurance is coverage for unforeseen events. If you have a chronic disease, that is not an unforeseen event and needs to be addressed in premium payments. All this talk of covering pre-existing conditions is essentially shifting costs from the unhealthy to everyone else. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree with that more. William Foster writes, I worked 24 years as an insurance loss control rep for commercial accounts, high-risk businesses, and those with bad loss records. They all landed in the assigned risk pool and understandably paid higher premiums. For example, crop dusters. Sam Saraguru writes, my father was an insurance agent, as are my two brothers, so I am familiar with the assigned risk program. I am not sure if it is still in existence, given the push to be so egalitarian and say it is not fair to charge young men and assume that they have few brain, blah, 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 blah. Nevertheless, I think this is an excellent idea. Sure, if you're into putting yourself at risk because you have a death wish by virtue of your, quote, lifestyle, then, and your probability of getting truly seriously injured, even paralyzed, and needing nursing care for the rest of your life, why shouldn't you pay more than someone who leads a more sedate, safe lifestyle? Great idea. So everyone agrees with me, except those who, of course, want you to pay for their insurance and their health care. Last night I watched a show called Intervention for as long as I could take it. I can't stand these shows. I get so angry at the junkies and the alcoholics. I can't stand it. I get angry. I get enraged. I have no sympathy for them at all. They showed a girl who had been a track star or something as a kid, and she slipped into drug use. I'm not saying I like to see her in pain, but I'm sick and tired of glorifying her. And to make matters even worse, they show her, she comes home every 6 weeks to wash her laundry in her family's home. She throws her dirty, filthy, bug-infested laundry from her Fleabag hotel with junkies into her mother's washing machine. The mother says, you have to leave it outside for an hour before I'll put it in, because otherwise the fleas get in our clothes. You hear this? The girl comes home and starts complaining about everything. Then she has a younger sister who comes over and looks up to her. Here's the cameras running on junkie, the sister junkie celebrity. What a warped society we live in. You know what I'm saying? Why should she not pay more for a health plan than you do? The answer is she has no money. It's too bad. Put her in an institution. Now, that's another thing that I never really talk about, which is reopen the mental hospitals. I know that they were closed in the 60s by Jerry Brown's father. Moonbeam's father, you see, closed the mental hospitals in California because that was the progressive thing to do. He actually didn't close them. He passed the legislation to close them. The Republican who inherited that had to close them. I know the whole history of it. So we had like Sonoma State Mental Hospital up here in Napa. It's still there. It's beautiful. But all the bugs are out of it. There's only no bugs left in there. The bugs are out in the street now. They are vomiting in the street, defecating in the street, urinating in mailboxes, rioting outside conservative homes. The bugs belong where they belong, in a bug house. That's what nut houses were for. And it's time to reopen the nut houses. You want to save on medical care, that's the best way to do that. Clean up the streets on one hand and lower the health care costs, number two. WABC, John, you're the first up. Did you go to the bookstore? What happened?
Went to a Barnes & Nobles, and I asked the gentleman, I'm looking for Trump's War, and I can't seem to find it because I buy all your books, and I pretty much know where they are. And he said, well, as you can see, it's snowing, and, we're not prepared today to set up, but we don't have it. I said, what do you mean you don't have it?
That's a lie. Those books were in the store last week. The publisher's paying for upfront placement. They're supposed to be right at the front checkout desk.
Absolutely. And he got rude, so I said, you know what? He goes, call corporate headquarters if you don't like it. So I did call corporate headquarters, and they were no help either.
Oh, wow. Which Barnes & Noble was this?
Westbury out in Long Island.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're going to get a lot of reports of the progs who go into the book-selling business trying to make sure my book is not out there, and it's going to be up to my army to insist it be out there. There is no blizzard in New York. It was like a little nothing, a dusting. What'd you have, 4 inches of snow?
It was nothing. It was a joke, absolute joke.
I guess the meteorologists who were so brilliant were wrong again.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's wait another day and see what happens. And you'll call back. If they still don't put it out, we'll cause a ruckus. Okay? 855-400-7282. Let's go to New Orleans, down in New Orleans. Now, David on line 3, you're calling from New Orleans, one of my favorite cities in the world. What's going on down there?
Hey, Michael. Just left the Barnes & Noble's bookstore. I know you're supposed to be on the Octagon right when you walk in. I walked around numerous times because I've seen your books on display there before, and it was not there.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, there's no blizzard in New Orleans, is there?
It's 59 degrees. It's freezing.
Well, I guess they can't blame the snow in New Orleans, so what was their excuse down in New Orleans in Barnes & Noble?
They had the Bill O'Reilly book, they had Bernie Sanders, and they had the Obama book front and center. So I went to the representative. I said, Trump's War, it came out today. Where is it? Can you help me find it, please? He goes, yes, I think we have it. Michael, they have you in a box over to the left side of the store where the Starbucks is. I said, well, isn't this ironic? I think he would just go crazy if he knew that his book was, you had to go pick it up next to the Starbucks.
I think that's funny. Yeah. That's very funny. All right, so there's already subversion going on across America against my book, even in a store even a chain like Barnes & Noble. This is 2 stores, 2 different cities. The clerks are refusing to put the books out. Well, I can't control that. That's the publisher's job, not mine. It's a great book. It's a book that is necessary for everyone who is a voter of Donald Trump. And we're going to wait another day and see what happens. The phone number is 85. Thank you so much, David, for reporting live from New Orleans. So we have 2 lies now. 2 lies on the placement of Trump's war. Have you been in your bookstore? Did you have trouble finding Trump's war at the bookstore? What have the book clerks told you about the book? Now, forgive me for talking about my book. I know it offends you. But let me explain something to you. This is not National Public Radio. I do not receive federal funding to run this show. I'm not NPR. This is SPR. This is Savage Radio. And the fact of the matter is, were it not for advertisers, I wouldn't be on the air. And were it not for the fact that I talk about my own book, you wouldn't know about it because I'm blacklisted by Fox News and the entire media of wonderful liberals who claim that they're against blacklists while they have put me on a blacklist. So I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you, if I'm not for myself, who will be? If I'm only myself, who am I? But I'd like to talk about high-risk insurance policies for high-risk people. What do you think about that? I'll be right back to take your calls right here on the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
You are listening to Michael Savage on Really Big Something Channel.
You're listening to Michael Savage. Coming up at 3, it's Mark Levin on Talk Radio 560 KSFO.
I'm going to take the callers. There's loads of them lining up. But I tell you, there's a great article called in Newsmax, Savage Fights Trump's War as President von Clausewitz. Von Clausewitz was an Austrian diplomat, I believe, who said that politics is war by other means. And she writes, Jane Blakemore writes, before there was Donald J. Trump, there was Michael Savage. After all, it was top talker Savage who, long before Trump arrived on the political scene, spent years blasting the establishment wings of both parties over issues like spiraling debt and open borders. Savage's latest bestseller, she writes, Trump's War, is a guidebook for the new president and his supporters to understand the high stakes now underway in the ongoing battles over health care, trade, the deficit, and border security. As his legions of listeners know, Savage has routinely scorched the airwaves with fiery diatribes against illegal vermin flooding across the border, to trample the rule of law in America, flouting political correctness for decades in favor of a gospel of borders, language, and culture. He apparently had one New York billionaire listening. And I'll read more later. It's really good. It's on Newsmax. It's on michaelsavage.com. The W&D article is off the charts great by Art Moore. Let's go to the callers right now. KSFO Online, Ayal, line 2. Go ahead, please. What's your story?
Michael, I'm calling you from Israel. I'm your biggest fan in the whole world. I listen to you every day in a city about 20 miles north of Tel Aviv. I start my day. I take my dog to the dog park. I listen to you. And I was the first one, I think, in the whole world to get your book. I got it on Kindle. I just refer to it as a textbook for the Savage Nation. That's what I'm going to use it for. I'm just going to listen to it. I'm just going to read it every day. And when I listen to your show, I'm going to read the book with it. This is
Ayal, are you an American who moved to Israel?
My parents are American. They made Aliyah, which means they were Zionists, and they moved to Israel. And I went to college in Chicago, and I returned back.
So you served in the IDF. That's a requirement, correct?
Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to stay in America. And I think one of the statements that you made about that your father told you, I think when you were in Tel Aviv, and I think you remembered him. It was 1978, I believe. And he told you, Michael, you're an immigrant son. Why do you want to move to another country?
I remember. Oh, that's a great story. Yeah, I remember. I was walking the streets of Tel Aviv, thinking of moving to Israel. I had 2 young children, and I heard my father's voice. I was walking in the middle of 2 in the morning, and I heard my deceased father say to me, Michael, why do you want to make your son an immigrant in another country? And I went home the next day.
And I remember that to that day because we're all American citizens, and I still want to live here because my kids like it here. Anyway,
I understand. So tell me, what's the mood in Israel right now? Is it optimistic? Is it pessimistic? What is it like?
But I'm telling you, what you're dealing with the liberal left there, we're dealing with here in tiny Israel, which is about as big as New Jersey. We deal with it every day. And
why is that wing of the Jewish people suicidal? The so-called Peace Now, the capitulators, the women who had their heads shaved after World War II for collaborating with the Nazis. Why are they collaborating with the enemies who would kill them? Why?
I don't know. I don't understand it. It's
Is there a right wing in Israel anymore? Is there a strong militaristic right wing left in Israel?
Militaristic left?
A strong militaristic right wing in Israel. Does it exist?
It exists, yeah. But I don't know. The left is just controlling the media. They're controlling everything. They're controlling the Supreme Court. It just is the same thing like it is in America.
Why? How is it that the left has put its tentacles into every democracy in the world? What is it about the suicidal movement that has infected the entire West like this? What is this?
They represent about maybe 5-10% of the people, but they make it sound like they're everybody.
Yeah. But it's the same in Little Israel.
It is. And
it's a beautiful country. Beautiful country. I'm an American born here. I decided to come back here, and for better or for worse, here I am. And struggling every day to make sure that America's here for my children's children. Because the battle today is not for my children, it's for my children's children. If we do not defeat the communist movement in this country, and that is what the American left is, make no mistake about it. If we do not defeat the socialists who are communists without guns, our children's children will face communists with guns. Thank you for calling the Savage Nation. God bless you, and God bless the state of Israel. How to save Trump care. High-risk pools for insurance for those in high-risk professions or high-risk lifestyles. If you have multiple sex partners every week, should you pay the same for insurance as someone who does not engage in risky behavior? Why? Tell me why. If you are a junkie, why should you not pay more than someone who does not use drugs? Have you been to your local bookstore to look for Trump's War? What was the result of visiting that store?
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282.
Hey.
You're listening to Michael Savage. Coming up at 3, it's Mark Levin on Talk Radio 560 KSFO.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Savage States of America.
Thanks for bringing a smile to my lips, Robert. I need it. My third show today. This morning I did a KSFO interview with Brian Sussman and Katie Green. Then at 10 o'clock in the morning I did 1 hour with Alex Jones. It was supposed to be 30 minutes. It was an hour. I love Alex. He excites my mind. He's a real warrior. And now this, and I'm not tired at all. I do have heartburn because I ate raw ginger just now as an anti-inflammatory. I get organic ginger and slice it just for the heck of it. It's great. I want to just ask you again, what's going on in the bookstores? These are two cities now, New York, New Orleans, no books, even though Barnes & Noble was paid to put the book up front. These are my loyalists going in there. WABC Terry, line 3, what happened with you in the bookstore?
Hey, Mike, I'm so happy to speak to you. I listen to you every day. I want you to know I love your show. We were coming back, my husband and I were coming back, and we got off in LaGuardia, and I already ordered your book. I ordered your book like when you first came out, because I finished Scorched Earth, and then I started reading Liberalism is a Disease, and I just love your books. You come right through your books. Very, very, very great. And so I said to my husband right away, get that book. I want that book. And so we ordered it, and I've been waiting 5-6 weeks. So when we're coming back through LaGuardia, I said, let me just go into that store and see. So Howard, my husband, said to me, it should be coming. You ordered it. But I already have it, and it hasn't come yet.
So wait, you went in the bookstore in the airport?
I went into the bookstore in the airport, yes, where they sell the gum and the candies and the magazine. And I figured, that your book should be right up front.
That's right. Of course, it's going to be a big book, but what? It wasn't there at all?
With a big play, with a board, with a picture of you.
All right, but the bottom line is it was not there, or it was there?
The line is it was on the side, in the back, not even by the magazines, like it was a turnstile of the Peanuts and everything.
Oh, underneath the porno magazines?
Well, no, not underneath the auto magazine, but there was a book rack then, but it was like the nuts were there and the chips. And
they put my book next to the nuts. I wonder if that was a message.
I don't know. Oh, Mike, you're great.
I'm kind of in a new place in life. I cannot control what idiots do. That's the job. That is the job of the booksellers. That is the job of my publisher. I have another job, and that's what I do on the radio. I can't control what idiots do. Terry, I'm going to send you a free copy of Trump's War. Don't worry about it. I want to read you something from that article on Newsmax. The woman's a great writer. I got to read this to you because it's about the healthcare thing. 2 weeks ago, Savage's family shared dinner with the new president at Mar-a-Lago, blah, blah, blah. The recent tug of war over the House GOP's replacement plan for Obamacare, which Senator Tom Cotton, R.A.R.C., warns will not pass the Senate and could cost Repubs their control of the House in 2018, suggests Savage's preternatural sense of the American zeitgeist remains as sharp as ever, she writes. She's a good writer. As befits a thinker who earned his Ph.D. in epidemiology and nutrition sciences from the University of California at Berkeley, Savage's book is rooted in a diverse intellectual menagerie, ranging from Plato to Jefferson to Madison to Thomas Paine to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Gary Cooper. I really like that line. Not satisfied just to put the axe to the policies of Trump's predecessor, Savage concludes each chapter of his book with his own policy recommendations on how to craft a more perfect union, which he calls Savage Solutions. At other moments, Savage holds up his lamp to Republican dogma and exposes its inconsistencies. America and the West have needlessly provoked Russia by expanding NATO right to Russia's doorstep, he writes. Not all environmental regulations are communistic, he insists. We ought to take care of our animal friends and not poison them. And Washington, he says, has become an empire run by globalist elites, multinational corporations, and international bodies of bureaucrats, where national borders are an impediment to progress, as are the cultures of the various nations within them. Savage also presents the reader with an exhaustive list of nearly 200 activist groups he says were funded by the Hungarian-American billionaire investor George Soros, a man that he brands as, quote, the Napoleon of American socialism, unquote. Pretty good. With Trump cast as commander-in-chief, Savage is satisfied to serve as chief military strategist, a political Karl von Clausewitz. At times, Savage seems to be tilting at windmills that are not spinning much anymore. That's pretty good. I like the slight criticism. Let's see what else. I won't read the rest of it. It's really well written. I like good writing. What else do I want to talk about this? I don't know. Better to be a Sun Tzu than a Clausewitz. Okay, great. Always a smart aleck on the sidelines. All right, look, to each his own, as they say. What should I do right now? Keep taking the calls? Did you see the Judge Napolitano on Fox, who I like very much, reported today that 3 intelligence sources say that Obama looked to a British agency of spies to spy on Donald Trump? Fox News judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano claimed, quote, 3 intelligence sources say President O looked to British spy agency GCHQ to obtain transcripts of conversations involving President Donald Trump on Fox and Friends on Tuesday. 3 intelligence sources, he says, have informed Fox News that President Obama went outside the chain of command. He didn't use the NSA. He didn't use the CIA. He didn't use the FBI. And he didn't use Department of Justice. He used GCHQ. That's initials for the British spying agency. They have 24/7 access to the NSA database. So by simply having 2 people go to them saying President Obama needs transcripts of conversations involving candidate Trump, conversations involving President-elect Trump, he's able to get it. And there's no American fingerprints on this. Obama is a sneak. He should be tried right now. Don't tell me he's above the law. He's not above the law. If he committed crimes while president, he should be tried for them right now. I don't care what Maxine the Jackal says. I don't care what that Pelosi creature says. Impeach him now. Impeach him in the court of law. Show the world what a lousy snake he is. Obama spent $36 million in his last year on lawyers to block turning over federal records under the Freedom of Information Act. Listen to what I just said. That lousy, dirty communist sneak spent $36 million of taxpayer money on lawyers to block turning over records, federal records under the Freedom of Information Act. For a second consecutive year, the sneaky, dirty Obama administration set a record for times federal employees told citizens, journalists, and others that despite searching, they couldn't find a single page of files that were requested. What more do we need to show you how evil he is and what a liar he is and how the media covered for this dirty sneak every day of his administration? You want to hear more about it? I'm not going to tell you any more about it. You need to know no more about Obama. His name itself has become a noun for evil. It is no longer the name of a man. It's a noun for evil. It is a noun for evil. No, it's a verb. Obama has become a verb for evil, not a noun. As you know, a noun is a person, place, or a thing. The word Obama is no longer a noun. It has become a verb for evil. So if you say to someone, don't pull an Obama on me, you're expressing, or don't be an Obama, please. That means don't be a sneak. Don't be an Obama means stop lying to me. You get it? Yeah, okay, you got it, sure. It really matters when you have the vermin in the media covering for him even now and attacking Trump at every turn. I'm getting so sick and tired. I am so sick and tired of looking at USA Today. Every day another attack. Every newspaper in the country around the clock, anti-Trump propaganda. Every day Trump bashing. Every day lies, repeated lies, over and over and over and over again. You know, Hitler had a minister of propaganda who named Goebbels, who did the same exact thing as USA Today, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox News, CNN. He said that if you tell a big lie often enough, it will become the truth. This is what we have going on in America today. There are very few of us who see what is going on and have the ability to even express it. This is the Savage Nation. I think what I'd like to do for you now is take some calls on high-risk pools for high-risk individuals. Why are you against the high-risk pool? Who would be opposed to that? You know, another question I wanted to ask you today, I was thinking about this on my bicycle today. Who would oppose borders in the United States of America? Why would you oppose a firm border? Tell me why you would want this country to become like Mexico or like El Salvador or Nicaragua. Why do you want this country to look like those hellholes? What is it about you that makes you that sick? In other words, let's look at it from the point of view of Mexicans, El Salvadorans, Guatemalans. Why do they come here? Because their own country is a cesspool. They flee their countries because their countries are cesspools. They can't live in them. They're corrupt socialist nightmares. So why would you want to dissolve our borders and turn this nation into a nation that appears like them? What, does that make any sense? The answer is you're suicidal or stupid. The fundamental definition of anything, well, let's put it another way. The liberals are big on telling us we should have self-esteem. Everyone should have self-esteem. A junkie should have self-esteem. Every self-help group, self-esteem, love yourself. Why should you love yourself if you're a rotten, stinking person? Where'd that come from? Some people are not worthy of self-respect. They're garbage. Where's this come from? Everyone should have self-respect. They tell everyone to have self-respect. That's the greatest thing on earth, the greatest scam on the planet. You should love yourself. No matter how, whatever you've done is not really that bad. You raped 3 children, doesn't really matter. You're not bad. They go into these group therapy sessions. And they say every day they tell them they're really nice people. So when they get out, they do it again. Guess I'm not that bad. They told me for 8 years I wasn't that bad. I guess I'll go out and do the same thing again. I can come back and get some self-help therapy. But the point I'm making is they teach individuals to have a self-identity and to love themselves. Why does that not apply to a nation, says Savage? Shouldn't a nation have a national identity? Shouldn't we love our national identity? How do you define a national identity? No one has written a better definition than me in 3 simple words. No one. No one has ever beaten that. My 3 greatest words. Borders, language, culture. Why does the progressive left, so-called, hate our borders, hate English as a language, and hate our culture? Think about that very carefully. I know the answer. I'll be back to take your calls right here on the Savage Nation. Be here or be nowhere.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Talk Radio 560 KSFO.
Hey, welcome back to the Savage Nation. Before we return to Trump's war, I want to talk with you about something that we're all, interested in, blood flow, and that's simple. I mean, it's all about blood flow when you get older, right? Even when you're younger, we know circulation is the key to all. There's a natural way to support healthy blood flow, and that's by getting enough dietary nitrates into your body, which convert into nitric oxide. What is that? Well, Super Beets is the easiest way to get these natural dietary nitrates. One scoop in water or a smoothie, and you're all set. This is the secret to helping support healthy circulation and healthy blood pressure levels. You see, Super Beets works 3 times faster to give you results you can feel. Plus, it happens to taste great. It's all about blood flow. I take Super Beets every day. I can feel the energy and stamina it gives me within 20 minutes. I want you to call 800-481-0504. That's 800-481-0504. Or go to SavageLovesBeets.com. That's SavageLovesBeets.com. And you're going to get a 30-day supply free. Comes with your first order, backed by a money-back guarantee. And you're going to get a free book called Beat the Odds, free shipping on your entire order. You're going to love the results you feel with your first free canister. Guaranteed, or you get your money back. You got that? 800-481-0504. 800-481-0504. SavageLovesBeets.com. And now back to the issues of the day. Let's look at the Trump presidency from the top. Let's put aside health care for a moment. Many people are frightened right now that his entire administration is in trouble. I am not. This is what politics is all about, especially when you have an entrenched bureaucracy and an entrenched socialist Islamist machine that refuses to go away. They're not going to leave within 60 or 90 days. We didn't expect them to. Wars take a long time. These are the initial battles of a longer war. And you have to understand that the healthcare issue, while key to it all in some ways, is not the only battle that we're facing. We've already won 2 major battles, in case you don't know it. The military morale is way up. Our national security is way up. You have to understand there are priorities to things. And as I said to you several times, and I have to say it again, even if we only wind up getting 20 or 30% of what Trump promised during the campaign, that's 120 or 130% more, at least, than we would have had if Hillary Clinton had won. I'll give you 2 examples so you don't think it's just hyperbole. First Amendment. Hillary Clinton said she would eliminate talk radio and websites she doesn't like with the so-called fairness doctrine. In Germany, a neo-Nazi who calls himself a social democrat. See, the neo-Nazis today are the social democrats. You don't know that. Never forget that Hitler was the head of a socialist party called the National Socialists. Today they are called Social Democrats. It's one and the same. And the Social Democrat Party, so-called in Germany, one of them actually said he wants to fine anyone who has a website that provokes hate speech in any way should be fined $50 million. This is not an invention. This is fascism, pure and simple. We would have lost our freedom of speech and freedom of the press in this country had that she-witch won. We have the First Amendment for the next 4 to 8 years. Why don't you count your blessings? All you backstabbers who stabbed them for it. You know, I love these people who stabbed them in the back for 9, 10, 11 months. They're never Trumpers. Then when he won, they suddenly they love Trump. Now that he's in trouble, they're stabbing him in the back again. Second Amendment, guns, over, not touching them. Hillary would have seized your guns one way or the other. So you have to look at the big picture. And don't expect to get everything that you want. You're not going to do it. It doesn't occur in your life. It doesn't occur in a political campaign. It doesn't occur in a political administration. We are way, way ahead of where we would have been had she seized power. Do you understand that? But now the battle has just begun. The illiberal fascist left is on the warpath. They are beating people up with sticks and fists on the front lines of this fight. The time will come when they're going to face real men very soon. And then you're going to see something you don't want to ever see in this country. I'm not advocating it. I'm predicting it.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.